Into the Spotlight with Osaka Jack on Everfree Network. Hello everyone, this is Osaka Jack with Into the Spotlight on Everfree Network. With me today, I have someone who is the first repeat guest I've had. And it's ironic because this is my last guest, Miss Fina Hylen. Hello.
Hi! I didn't know that. I didn't
Really?
know I was the first returning guest. No,
Oh, yeah,
I feel
absolutely.
honored.
Yeah, I've done 103 guests in 104 shows.
Well, I feel honored. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Well, if you... I guess there might be some people out there that didn't listen to the first show. I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
But could you give just a quick summation? Who are you? What do you do?
Well, I am a Swedish voice actress. I am a singer and a musical actress, and I also work with translating children's media from English to Swedish.
I think you forgot cosplayer in there.
Oh, well, that's my secret identity. Yeah, I do. I do enjoy dressing up way too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I do it as often as I can make time for now that I have a 2-year-old son. And
Right.
Yeah.
That's, actually, I don't know. I guess I've heard that Halloween's primarily American and the rest of the world doesn't quite get it.
Yeah, that's true, but it's starting to get bigger here too. But
That's
in
good.
Sweden, yeah, it's fun. But the kids don't really know which day they should go trick or treating. So like in the Halloween week, I have like three days that like no, it's tomorrow, and then
You know
yes,
what?
trick or
I am
treat.
totally in favor. I am totally in favor of Halloween week. This is a great idea.
No, well, I'm not so sure. And when usually it's kind of we used to have an Easter time
Mm-hmm.
actually where kids dressed up as little Easter witches or
Okay.
påskkärringar as we say here in Sweden, and they or påskherrar with the guys, little Easter men,
Okay.
and they dress up and they make drawings
Mm-hmm.
and stuff that they walk around to the houses and they give out these little drawings, and either you give them like a little coin or
Uh-huh.
you give them candy as a thank you.
Ah,
And
okay.
so that's what we had. And now that's disappearing more and more, and people are turning more to
Oh.
Halloween. Yeah.
I gotta say, I like the idea. I mean, I teach kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I see them at both their cutest and sometimes their worst.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has good days, bad days, and I see both.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't get a lot of art to put on my refrigerator, and I would like more crayon drawings and stuff to put on my fridge, and that sounds perfect. Have kids just come to my place and give me drawings in exchange for candy.
Yeah, it's a really cute tradition, and then it's
That's horrible. I'm
unfortunately
so
that's
sad that it's dying.
yeah, I know, me too actually. But all good things come to an end, I guess.
Well, unfortunately, I have also heard that Halloween itself in America is not doing so well.
Really?
Well, people are getting candy, but it's apparently becoming a safety issue on where kids can go by themselves and blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
yeah, yeah. Yes. Yeah, it is, but they should always have chaperones. The
Oh,
kids that come
yes.
here always have adults standing like in the background. I know I wouldn't have been allowed to walk around with neighbors asking for candy when I was little without. No, no, no. My mom would have. No, no.
Well, I mean, when I was younger, it was kids up to 7 or 8. Yes, there would be a chaperone who would be walking them. But when you get like 9 to the 11 years old, it's okay to go. 12, if you look young, it's okay to go. I never got to go when I was 12 because I was really tall. But yeah,
Oh,
you wanted to go by yourself because you and your friends would run to the next house, do trick or
yeah,
treat, run, and get as much candy as you could before it got too late at night.
yeah. I actually rejected a couple of kids the other day. No, the other day, the last year,
Mm-hmm.
and because they were like 17
Ah,
and they had put on uh, like a red nose and some whiskers,
that's not
and that was it.
no, no.
And I was like, wait a minute, you put on a cape, you put on a red nose, and I don't know what you're supposed to be, but you're like 17 and way too old, so please leave and buy your own damn candy. sorry.
Now, in the American version, you have to watch. If they're just carrying bags for candy, you can shoo them away. But if they happen to have a box of eggs with them, you give them candy.
Yeah. I don't think that's a good thing. I think the trick part in Sweden isn't really a thing.
Okay.
It's just people are allowed to turn them away because where it gets tricky, pardon the pun, that it gets tricky to trick when not everybody in Sweden are really sure about when the date is. Or this is not a real 100% tradition yet. So people are like, oh, what? It's Halloween today? No, I don't have any candy. I'm so sorry. Right. It feels really awful to just TP the house or throwing eggs and stuff.
Right.
So, so the trick part is not so much right now, but as the tradition grows, it'll probably happen.
Well, again, in my area for tricks, little kids just had to tell a joke they had learned, like a knock-knock joke or something. When we got to about 11 years old, my friends and I actually had staged a 2-minute stage performance where we had acting coming on and dramatic saving of the damsel. And
I love that. That is perfect.
It was fantastic because even the people who were like, you're too old for this, were like, well, we can do the trick. I mean, it'll take 2 minutes, but we could do We always got the candy. They're like, okay, that was pretty cool. All right. We earned it.
Yeah, I would support that. Definitely. Yeah, well, that's the story of Halloween in Sweden. It's getting bigger and bigger because people are making money off it, I guess.
I'm convinced that any holiday that allows people to purchase more chocolate will survive.
Yeah.
It's
true.
Yeah, that's, I mean...
I believe
not even just purchase chocolate, but be able to eat as much chocolate as you'd like. And everyone's like, yeah, that's okay. It's Halloween. Go ahead. That's, I mean, if I came up and said, hey, happy Tuesday, let's get all the chocolate we can. No, that wouldn't work.
No, probably be more difficult.
Yeah. Well, I know we had to schedule this interview now. Technically, it'll be released about 3 or 4 weeks from now because you got a big old vacation coming up.
Oh, yeah. We're going to Thailand. On Friday. It's like 5-6 days from now. We've been working our teeny tiny behinds off to actually have be able to go on this vacation. We didn't have any vacation this summer. Usually every Swede has 4 or 5 weeks paid vacation every year.
Wow.
Sometimes even more. I've heard people that like, no, I get 7 weeks paid vacation every year, and I'm like, where do you work? And so that's a really good thing about being living in Sweden. But since we have our own company, me and my fiance, we had to work our little butts off because nobody is giving us any paid vacations.
Right.
So we have been working the entire summer through, and we are going to be working like until the plane leaves.
Wow. Okay.
Like it's crazy, but it's we are so looking forward to it.
How long are you going to be staying in Thailand?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Woohoo!
I know.
Oh,
we were just going through the budget yesterday. That's the least fun part,
Yeah, that's not a fun part.
So, no, we don't have a budget. We're just gonna splurge on this and that. But no, we have to be smart about this.
Right. Though, if you start feeling down, just check that temperature difference one more time.
Yeah.
And just like, look, okay.
It's like 5 degrees minus here today, Celsius. And it's like 30 degrees Celsius over there now. So,
yeah.
I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. We're going to go snorkeling and we're going
nice.
build sand castles and eat.
I got to say, the idea of a warm vacation sounds nice, but I still want snow this year, and we haven't had any in Osaka.
Really?
None. It's like 10 degrees today. I'm like, what is this? This isn't winter.
No, I know. It's really well, it's easy when you get to leave like we're doing. We're just packing up and leaving in like the end of January, and being away for the entire month of February almost.
Right. Yeah.
It's so much easier to enjoy the snow and enjoy the winter and enjoy the darkness
That's
that is
true.
this season,
Yeah, yeah.
because it gets pitch black around 3 o'clock in the afternoon here now.
Oh, yeah, that's
And
right.
yeah, about 3, 4 o'clock, it's pitch black, and it's pitch black until like 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we have 6 hours of light, and probably not even that light because there's clouds, gray, thick monster clouds in the sky, so it's almost
I know you're
always
trying to talk about how bad it is, but honestly, it sounds great to me. Just I I love it. Osaka is very nice, but it almost doesn't have different seasons anymore. We've got the summer was mild and the winter is mild, and it's like we're just hovering in the middle. I want things to change.
I get that.
Uh,
I do. I get that. It's like it's not warm like the entire year because that's my dream. We were talking about Paper Pony earlier,
yeah,
and you said they live in South Florida, and I was
yep.
like, oh, that's where I want to live. Warm all the time. That would be great. And then leave to, you know, it's the vacations to maybe enjoy some other seasons. But I enjoy when I lived in Gran Canaria. I worked as a singing waitress at a big show restaurant
Oh,
in Gran
nice.
Canaria. In Gran Canaria, I don't know if everybody knows, but it's a small group of islands, the Canary Islands, and it's outside the west coast of Africa.
Right.
And it's pretty much warm all year round. And I lived there for 2 years, and I loved it. It was great. Um, weather-wise and
Right.
work-wise, it was great. But it's kind of like a bubble. You just live in this little teeny tiny little bubble. And
Sure.
since the internet wasn't really there was no Facebook back then. There
Right.
was no Skype. There was no, nothing, no smartphones. And it's not that long ago. It's only 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah, I believe it.
It's moved so fast. So you couldn't really share with everyone how amazing it is. But it's nice. I liked it, but I like the seasons too, so I can totally relate to that. But it's like global warming, people. Anywho, well, I
Still,
like the
3 weeks.
seasons too.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, yes, it will be nice, and I will tweet, and I will
Yes, make us
upload.
everybody jealous.
Yes.
Because we will all just, oh, look at that warmth. Ah.
Now you support me. You always everybody. I'm just telling you, and before we started the interview, that everybody's so supportive of me on Twitter, and that is so amazing. And
Yeah.
I've had very little haters, knock on wood,
Yes.
haters or aggressive people or mean or
That's
nothing
great.
actually.
That's
Yeah,
great.
I love it. That's why I like Twitter so much.
It's definitely a good reason. I heard somebody say, uh, Twitter is where you come to love people you've never met, and Facebook is where you come to hate family.
I can't tell a lie. I agree.
Yep.
I
I.
can't tell a lie. I'm sorry, but it's like it's weird because
Mm,
you think the people that are really close to you will be the most supportive,
mm-hmm.
and when I like tweet and Facebook the exact same thing, it's an amazing difference
Oh
to
yeah.
what
Mm-hmm.
people comment. Or on Facebook, I don't. Oh, anywho, Twitter,
I
I love you. You're
I
great.
deleted my Facebook about 3 years ago. Never looked back. And Twitter, I get really sad if Twitter's down for a few hours. I don't. Where is everybody?
How are you feeling? Are you lonely without me? I'm lonely without you. Yeah.
Now that actually would
But
be a fantastic commercial for Twitter. Just have that voice. Just
that
have that exact voice, timing, and speech recorded like 50 million times over, and just into one voice, and that'll be Twitter.
would be Twitter.
Well, we're still a little bit on the subject of cold. There was something recently that we were both involved in.
Mhm.
You got me the ice bucket challenge.
Mhm. That was great.
Yeah. So
That was
Fina
really great.
here
And
did the
it
ice
was
bucket challenge, and then at the end she called out 3 people, and I was like, oh yeah, I wonder who she's calling out. Osaka Jack. What? Ah!
Yep. Oh, Darn it. Yeah, I was great. I love that video. I love that the students help you. That was great. But I also have this really bad with a cold. I mentioned it in my last interview, I think, maybe. I don't remember. It might have been. Anywho, I'm allergic to the cold.
Yeah, I remember.
I actually 100% am allergic to the cold. So I get these itching hives when I get cold. I can even carry a cold carton of milk on my arm.
Wow.
Like when I'm shopping and I'm carrying it through the store and I take away and I'm like, what? No. And it's starting to itch and it's starting to break out. And I live in Sweden where it's cold 6 months out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's laughing at me when I come in my ski outfit to work. And they're like, well, are you coming directly off the slopes? Don't make fun. I have a condition. No, but it's okay. I'll give him that. It's fun. I look like an idiot.
Yeah, when I was first here, when I was in the eastern part of Japan, the winters would occasionally get pretty cold, and I would still try to I can still look cool. I'll get this nice jacket and maybe a scarf, and that's it. And I'd get to work, and my hands are freezing, my nose is freezing, my ears are freezing. Now, I am bundling up. I've got something over my face, I've got something over my ears, and I'm putting my hood up, and I look like a giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But tell you what, I arrive at work, I'm fine. I'm nice and warm. I don't care.
No, me neither.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. It's worth all the weird looks on the subway.
Weird looks anyway. What do I care if they're going to look at me strange because of winter or because I'm way taller than them? I don't care.
Oh my god! Yeah, are you like one head above everybody else?
Usually, not everybody. I mean, I've noticed, especially in the last 5 years, there seem to be more people about my height, but it's still rare. It's still definitely a rarity out here. Ha ha ha! That's a character from the show. Ha ha ha! I made a joke. Okay.
Totally is. Oh, we forgot to mention that I'm in My Little Pony.
Yeah, that's right. You do. You're in My Little Pony. If anybody's wondering, why did he talk to her? I don't know. Okay, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I have 4 characters in the Swedish My Little Pony. That's all mine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, you are the. I would argue the 4 fan favorites. I really would.
Really?
Well, all right. I'll put it out to anybody listening here. We got 4 characters. Think of your top 4 in general pony characters. Okay. So, Fina, go ahead and list them off. We've got.
That's not the main characters, though.
No, not the main characters. No, not the main 6. But yeah, fan favorites. I'm gonna argue. Yeah, all 4. I would say all 4.
Okay. Well, let's start with Princess Luna.
Princess Luna,
and also Nightmare Moon.
Nightmare Moon. Yeah, kind of go together, but yeah.
Yeah. And then we have Derpy.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't had too many lines, but the ones that she had.
Unfortunately, she really won't, and probably won't ever again. Unfortunately,
I know. So that sucks for me because I really enjoyed her. Mm-hmm. Anywho, we have Silver Spoon. Yep. And last but definitely not least, Trixie.
Mm-hmm. The great and powerful Trixie.
Yep, the great and powerful Trixie. Yeah, so those are the characters that I portray. And yes. I love each and every one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, you might not be able to talk about it, but have you done any more recording for a Luna voice?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not yet. So I'm hoping that nothing shows up while I'm away on vacation, because that would be bad.
Yeah.
But no, not yet. Actually, I there was a kind of a mix-up at work where the latest movie, I think it might have been, that we did, where Trixie was going to be singing.
Yes, Equestria Girls 2, Rainbow Rocks.
Exactly. And Trixie was singing, and I was like, yay, I'm going to sing! And somebody had already recorded all of the singing. So they actually stole that from me, but it was a mistake, but still I am bummed.
Well, now
Uh,
that's a song you got to record because that's a really awesome song. You
well,
best
you know.
believe I got tricks up my sleeve. Watch me
Mm.
dominate, 'cause I'm powerful and great. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
It's a good song!
Yeah,
What?
yeah. I was beyond heartbroken.
Yeah.
When I was in the studio, and I was like, "Oh, Trixie's singing," and they were like, yeah, but for some reason the song is already here."
Oh, no.
Like, what? And I started to investigate, and well, there had been somebody had made a boo boo.
Yeah, big one.
Yep, pretty huge. And yeah, well, stuff happens. Let's hope
I
nobody did it to
understand that
me.
I understand mistakes happen, but I'm just going to say right now, even as a kid, it was very clear to me when an animation's voice had changed, and I didn't like it.
No, I know. I was the same way. But what can I do? Nothing.
Yeah, very true.
I could. I'll have to get the backtrack somehow and do my own version of it. That's that. I hope that'll happen.
Mm.
Mm.
Well, and I mean that's not the only show you've done. You've mentioned it recently. You're just working on a new show.
Yes. Should I say?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
The Adventures of Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
That's on Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
and I play the part of Kid Pickles,
Kid
which is
Pickles.
yes, he's a little orphan boy
Mm-hmm.
who loves pickles and only eats pickles.
I
And he
immediately
sounds kind
regret.
of like this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I talked over it. Go ahead.
He talks like this. It's okay. Yeah, and that cat looks weird. That's him. That's his voice.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great, and I actually watched it with my fiance and my son, and we were laughing out loud. It was really really funny, and yeah, and
Well, I have to say I haven't seen Kid Pickles yet, but considering that I really hate pickles, I cannot agree with this child's logic.
oh, oh,
I'm
that's
sorry.
too bad.
I've
It's
tried to
okay.
like pickles, but no, I do not.
No, no,
It
it's
just
okay. It's not my favorite either. I eat it, but it's not like I identify with that part of this character.
I can't.
He only drinks pickle juice and eats pickles. That's like the only thing
Wow.
he eats. Yeah, that's why he sounds like this.
I'm sure my voice would sound exactly like that if I ate only pickles. Yeah,
Yep.
that would. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a thing I'm working on right now,
Mhm.
and it's 5 episodes. It's on Netflix right now. Hopefully there will be a lot more. And I've also done the voice of Korra in Legend of Korra.
Oh, okay. That's
And
very popular over here, from what I hear.
yes, and it's such a good show, and I I have enjoyed working on everything that I have been privileged to be a part of,
Hmm.
but that part has a special place in my heart. Because she's a woman and she's a kick-ass woman and she's a complex woman
Hmm.
and she is not perfect
Right.
and but she's awesome. I and the show is so good
Hmm.
and I really recommend it to everyone
Yep.
because it's really great. And so that's the final season is coming up here soon.
Ooh.
So yeah, that's sad. That's
Yeah.
really sad because I really did not want it to end like ever. Um, but there you go.
Still,
As
I
I
think
said, all good things come to an end eventually.
I've said it before, and I'll probably say it a lot more. But in my mind, any series or anything that has an ending is so much better than anything that's just left in the air.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
and the fact
I
that
hate
this
that.
great story has a fantastic ending, that's just
Mm.
oh yeah. Mm.
Yeah, I know. I know. I agree. I agree totally. It's nothing more. As you know, I'm a huge nerd, and I love my superheroes, and I love. And right now we're watching Arrow.
Okay.
That's the thing where like, and we had just had a Batman marathon.
Right.
With all the Batman movies and Arrow. I like my superheroes. I really, really, really do.
Mm.
And it's so annoying. since when you're watching like shows and they just cancel them.
Yeah.
Like, wait, no, were you kidding me? No! What happened to this and what happened to that? None of the shows I mentioned now has been canceled, not Arrow anyway. It's
Well,
going
thank
really well.
goodness.
Well,
Don't
thank
jinx it.
goodness.
Don't jinx it.
I know, right? Sorry. But there's been several shows that we've been like,
Hmm.
oh, no, don't do this one. And of course, there are the shows that intentionally don't give you any answers, like Lost.
Yeah, that
Uh,
was just a cop out in my mind. But
yeah, well, I actually kind of felt where it was going. So in the season 3, I was like, no.
I honestly stopped watching Lost, I think, after the first episode of season 2.
Hmm.
Because season 1, I was like, "Oh, I want to see what happens." And then I saw the first episode, and I'm like, "You're not going to answer any of the questions, are you?" All right, I'm out. I'm out. I'm
Yeah, that was you realized that faster than I did because I like in this early season 3, I was like, no, I'm over this.
out.
Anywho,
I've heard people say it was a decent ending, at least, or at least completed the story. But
it didn't make sense. I heard.
yeah,
I
that's also what I heard
I don't.
too.
Yeah. Anywho, it's like you're left with your own interpretations, and that's crap.
Yeah, if
Like,
I want
no,
that, I'll just make my own story. Okay.
exactly. You should tell me what happens. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, well, I like my TV shows and I love movies. And actually, my fiance just directed the new Disney movie, Big Hero 6, in Sweden.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic movie. Loved it.
Yeah,
It was
we're
fantastic.
gonna see it tomorrow.
Okay,
It's opening tomorrow, and
I should
big
have had
opening
this
night.
interview in 2 days then because it's just so fantastic.
Aw. Well, he loves it, and
Mm.
he's really happy with it. And
Oh
we're
yeah,
going to the opening tomorrow, and it's gonna be so much
great.
fun. Yeah.
That's no, it's really good. Yeah, I couldn't. There were very few there were very few low points in the movie. Honestly, I couldn't think of a lot of things that just didn't work for me. It honestly was just a beautiful movie. Yeah,
Great.
yeah. I won't say I won't. Of course, I won't spoil it for you. Not at all.
Nope, no, and Nicholas kind of already did.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, and I was like, "Why did you just say that? Are you kidding me?" And he was like, "Oh, didn't you want to know? Do I ever want to know? No, I don't ever want to know. How? Why? No. Aw, aw, aw."
Well, you could take this then. Take a look at the design of the actual city because they
Hmm.
did a beautiful job making the city San Francisco,
Oh yeah.
which is a great amalgam of San Francisco and Tokyo.
Yeah.
It's beautifully done.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to it.
Yep.
Oh, it's gonna be great. Mm. Yeah, so that's a little bit more about me, I guess.
Mhm.
Um,
Now,
yeah.
actually, I have to mention this, and I don't have a good segue, but I've got to get this in.
Okay.
Yesterday, you tweeted a video.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the strangest things I've heard in a long time.
I had never thought about it as something strange. It's so funny.
There might,
Until I saw
if I
that video.
understand it correctly, there might be a Japanese slight equivalent, but I have to make sure. But so, this video, it showed that in the northern areas of Sweden,
Mm,
occasionally, if somebody wants to agree with what you're saying, they do the sound. Can you do the sound?
I just did.
Oh, it's just sucking in air.
Yep.
Now, wow.
It means yes. And when you're agreeing and listening and you're like it is really strange. Now when I think about it,
It,
I've never thought about it.
I've never heard of a sound in a language that has air coming in before.
I know. Yeah, hey, I don't know. We think it's really weird in Africa when they do this clicking.
That's true. That's true, but
But
that's neither air going out or in. That's just a tongue
it's not.
noise.
It's a tongue noise. But this is yeah.
To me, it sounds like somebody is slurping soup, but there's no actual soup.
Yeah, or as one of the women say in the says in the video, it's like when you have a breath mint and it's really strong, and
Right.
you're like,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, if you do it for a longer time, does it mean a bigger agreement? Is like a
No,
extreme yes?
no, I'm
Okay.
sorry. No, actually, it's just a short little.
Okay.
Yep. It doesn't. You can't agree stronger. If you want to agree really strong, you say
Right. Okay.
ja, or you know,
The only thing
exact.
I mean, it's not exact, but in Japan, if you say the letter N or the sound end,
Mm,
that's an agreement. And
mm.
it's not common in my hometown, but it's very common in Japan. And I hadn't realized that I had started to adopt that until a phone conversation. My father said I sounded like a monkey
You sounded like a monkey.
because he was saying stuff, and I was mm, mm. And he said it sounded like I would just become a monkey.
Oh no. Oh yeah. Well, I don't. I don't think you sound like a monkey.
Oh,
Oh, Jay.
I can
Just
have
you know.
a monkey that's just had a breath mint.
Oh no.
I'll be agreeing in
Oh
every language without using words.
yeah. Just use all the funny noises from each language. That's great. You
Actually, we
should.
could probably make, if we can get somebody to beatbox.
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah.
That's right.
I.
Right now, record it, and it'll be the Northern Sweden agreement song.
And the Japanese Northern Sweden part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
I
all.
like it.
I'm down for this. This is a
I am for it.
fantastic idea. Yes.
Yeah, but that's and I realized I did this yesterday when I watched the video. It was really funny because as I said, I'd never ever thought about it as something weird. And when I saw the video and this interviewer guy was like
He didn't
really
quite get it. I don't think he ever
he
did it correctly
no, he didn't.
because he was trying to do, and I'm like, no, no, no. There's no
Yeah,
sound. It's just.
exactly. It was like, but that's the exact same. That's not exactly
He
the
said it was
same
the
when you.
exact same. No, 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 no. One is you're making an ah sound as it goes, and the other
Yeah,
one you're just doing the air.
that's a gasp,
Yeah.
and this is a totally different.
Now I will say, it sounds. I mean, I agree with the breath mint thing, but also if I'm walking at night and I just barely hit my small toe on something, and I'm
Yeah,
not sure if it's going to be full
yeah,
pain or just a little pain,
yeah,
that's the sound I make. And then I hold my breath like, oh, please don't hurt more. Please don't hurt more.
yeah. I know. I that is true. That is exactly the right noise.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, that's exactly the right noise.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's
Did I hit my toe bad or?
yeah. You're just holding and waiting and please not bad, please not bad, please. Okay, I
Just
think
saying a
I'm
little
okay. Let's
pray.
keep walking. All
Yeah.
right, all right.
Oh yeah. And it's so. Speaking about Swedish people and how they pronounce things,
Hmm.
I've taken it upon myself to teach every Swede. No, not every Swede, but the Swedes in my close community
Right.
uh, to pronounce the word iron correctly.
Iron. Okay.
Iron, yeah, because it's spelled Iron,
Right.
which makes Swedes think it should be pronounced iron, which
Okay.
makes sense because
There's a
that's
logic
how it's
to it. Right.
spelled.
There's a logic
Yeah,
to it. Absolutely.
and they're like, no, but it can't be pronounced iron because then it would be spelled Iorn. And I'm like, yeah, I understand the feeling, and I understand that you
Just
feel this
show them
way.
the word Wednesday, okay?
Yeah, right? But
You
you're
don't say the
wrong.
D until after the end sound, but it's not Woden's Day
And
anymore.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
That is true. And I should use that in my next lesson
Hmm.
with the next person that I tell this to, because it's so annoying. Yeah, Iron Man. No,
Oh,
it's not
oh
Iron
no.
Man. It's not Iron Man. It's Iron Man. No, but it's a dialect thing. No, it's not. It's not
I
a
Run
dialect
Man just
thing.
sounds like a marathon runner.
What?
It just sounds like I run, man.
Oh yeah, I run. It's not. No, it's wrong. Iron. No. So that's even in the Swedish Iron Man series,
Hmm.
they say this you're watching in Swedish anyway.
Uh,
You're watching Iron Man. And
oh,
we're like, No,
Oh,
why
my.
are you? Yeah, that's bad. But there's a lot of there's more of those words actually
Hmm.
that Swedes always mispronounces.
Well, I'm not going to claim that any area is safe from them. My home area, um, very few pronunciation errors naturally, except one that just it makes my skin crawl. Wash.
W A S H.
Wash.
Wash.
Exactly. Wash. No, if
Wash.
you go to my hometown, not most, but a large number of people will put the letter R in there. Wash. I'm going to
Really?
wash the clothes. Ugh.
Okay.
Where are you getting the R from? Wash. Yeah, wash. No.
Yeah, I know. Oh, it's weird. Wash. Wash.
Yeah, if you ever
Yeah.
want to sound like Ozark area, Ozark area of America, just say wash.
Ozark. And where?
Ozark Mountains. Which,
Okay.
if we say mountains, and people in Europe are laughing at us because they're like little itty bitty hills, but they're mountains for us because we have a very flat land. Okay, come on now.
Okay, the mountains it is.
I think they
Uh,
I think they actually had to adjust the definition of mountain. I'm not sure to account but anyway. Warsh
oh yeah.
always annoyed me.
Wash.
No.
Yeah. Iron, wash, and wash.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
well,
wash the clothes and then iron the clothes.
well, oh no. Yeah, yeah, that's just wrong.
Yes, yes indeed.
But at least it's your language. You can do whatever you want with it. And I would like, Swedes to learn the correct way of pronouncing things. But I guess Swedes are really good at English anyway and making themselves understood.
Well,
So I
and
shouldn't be complaining.
yeah, and well, actually, that's a question that occurs to me sometimes because English loves to take words from other languages,
Mm,
and but it changes sometimes, and
mm,
it's a question of, well, should I tell them how it's supposed to sound or let them be? And the best example is, okay, I'll say the English pronunciation, karaoke.
mm.
It's karaoke.
Karaoke.
Yeah, karaoke is how it's pronounced in Japanese, but everybody in my hometown would say karaoke. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, it's kind of an English word now, so I really don't want to correct you because you're not saying it wrong for the language, but if you want it to sound like it's supposed to sound originally, it's karaoke.
I know that's what I find weird because I don't say, oh, we're going to go to Paris. I say we're going to go to Paris or
Yeah.
Paris, as they say in Swedish. And I it's yeah. I understand your predicament. I really do.
Yeah.
But it's a karaoke. We say karaoke in
Karaoke,
Swedish.
that's closer.
Karaoke. Karaoke.
I
Yeah.
think people in your country would be happier with Japan's pronunciation of your most famous store, though.
Really?
Because they use katakana, they know exactly how it's pronounced, and they say IKEA.
IKEA.
Rather than, well, you go to America, it's IKEA.
Yeah, IKEA.
And it's like,
But
well,
that's okay. I'm fine with that.
yeah,
It's
I
like
mean, that's what they know what they're talking about. Fine, just
yeah, exactly. And that's the entire point of having a conversation. As long as we understand each other, it's
yes.
okay.
Yeah,
And languages are already always changing. And
very
and
true.
I like getting new words.
Oh yeah,
I'm a person that like and enjoy getting new words in the dictionaries and that. And there are so many people who fight new words. Like, yeah, that's not a word. Like, it is now.
yeah.
Beyonce made up bootylicious. That's a word now. Why can't we
If
make up this word?
next time somebody complains about that, just ask them if they write email as capital E period mail, because that's how it used to be. 20
Really?
years ago, it was electronic mail, capital E period mail.
Huh.
Now it has
Well, I
become.
don't know
Then it
that.
went to E dash mail, and now just email.
Yeah. True. You are true.
It
You are
evolves.
true. You are right. I mean,
That's my job.
yeah, to be right.
Well, that occurs naturally. Just the fact that I can do that with language is a
It's just a
bonus.
happy coincidence. No, we have a word in Sweden that's relatively new.
Mm.
Um, it's called hen,
Hen?
and yeah, it's a I think I'm really sucky at grammar, but I think it's called a pronoun.
Okay.
where it's he
Is
or
it?
she.
Would it
Han,
be
hun.
HEN or HEM or
Yes.
kind of combination?
Yeah. HEN, like
Hen. Okay.
hen. And it's for people who don't uh, identify themselves as either a he or a she.
Okay. I can see that.
Not han and not hon, because
Right.
han is he in Swedish
Right.
and hon is she.
Okay.
And some people, or when you don't know which gender you're talking about,
Right. Right.
it's like, oh, yeah, I went to the doctor today. Oh, what did hen say?
Right. Right.
Because
Okay.
you shouldn't just assume that it's a male doctor.
Sure. Sure.
It could just as well be a female doctor,
Right.
and we
Right.
don't know which gender we're talking about. And people are so aggravated over this word. People are so upset about this word, and like, but you don't use it. You don't
Yeah.
feel like
You don't
you
have to
are
use it. I mean, granted, the rest of the world's going to zoom past you, but you don't have to use it. That's fine.
exactly. You can stay in the past and be ignorant.
Just,
It's
you know what?
fine.
Let's just go with the Japanese version. You say somebody's name and then you say san. And it doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman or whatever. Respect,
Perfect.
you have san. Extreme respect, sama.
Ah, cool.
So you would be Hilien-san or
Oh.
Hilien-sama if I want to be very proper.
Oh, no, you don't have to be very proper. I'm not a
Oh.
very proper person.
But it is a proper noun. Woo! Grammar for the
Woo!
okay.
Yeah, so that's a he, she, him, and the people are so upset, and it's like, but you and people are starting to have they're starting to put in more like gender uh free, I guess, um locker rooms
Okay.
in schools,
Oh,
so that gay men or so don't have to uh or transgender
sure.
people can choose where they want to change their clothes and where they're most comfortable. And I think that's
I think
great.
that's very progressive. I approve
It
of it.
is.
Yeah.
I approve of it too. It's really progressive, and I can't imagine why people are so. Uh,
Best reason I can figure that they'd be angry is I had to be embarrassed at times. Why don't they?
yeah, maybe.
Well,
And
I'm sure
are
you're going to
planting
see it
to.
a whole bunch when you go to Thailand. Is there will be price lists for men, for women, and for ladyboys.
Huh? I never thought about that. I've been there before, but price lists of where?
Well, like some locations will have, like clubs, for example.
Oh, I
Will have
don't go to.
price for well, yeah, but you can sometimes see price lists on there for men, for women, for ladyboys.
Huh.
That's the term that Thailand prefers, as far as I know. So
Yeah. Well, is it because of why is there a different price rate? Is it because the men make more money, or is it because
well,
of
I don't know if
safety?
it's the same in Sweden, but in America, every nightclub men have to pay more to get in than women do.
Huh.
That's not the case in Sweden? Wow, I'm shocked.
No, I don't think
Oh
so.
no,
It used
yeah,
to
Japan
be.
too. It's quite often you'll have men have to pay to get in, women get in free because if women go to a club, men want to go to a club. That's generally how it works. So the club
Huh.
will say, "Ladies,
No.
come on in. Men, you want to see the ladies who just came in? You got to pay some money."
Oh my God, no, I don't know. I have to check this out, but I don't think so. But
Really?
I do
Huh?
know that when I was like 18, I
Ah,
could get into clubs, and men had to be over 21.
okay, interesting.
So that age difference was different. So girls could get into clubs that are the guys that are same age couldn't get into.
That's not the case in America. It has to be 21 to get into a club.
Yeah, no, it's 18 in Sweden since our
Yeah,
legal drinking age is 18.
sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think maybe it's like emotional growth, or I don't know.
I'm I'm going to hope it's emotional growth, but I'm going to wager that it comes down to business in that men will pay to be where pretty girls are.
Yeah, but I mean with the age thing.
Oh, right, right. Um, not sure. I could
Oh,
imagine some
but we
reasons,
didn't
but
even think about it. But now it's like, what? That was weird.
it
Yeah, well,
probably is a reason, just not sure what it is off the
I
top of
don't
our heads.
think I don't think it's like that anymore actually,
Oh,
because
okay.
eventually people start, oh, this is sexism, and I'm like, yeah, well, they're not wrong.
Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah. So, yep. So really, men had to pay if you get. Huh.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Oh no, not cool. I don't know. That was weird. Kind of weird. Huh. You learn something new every day.
It's hoped you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just you. I mean anybody. But because if not, then my job's kind of failing.
Oh, no, you're not failing.
No, I'm not going to fail because English is too complicated for people to give me up.
Oh yeah. But oh god, I had it. Oh, it disappeared. Never mind. It went
Well,
away.
a question that I've asked in each of my interviews, and you've already had it once, but I want to see if it's changed at all. So, in all of My Little Pony, what line or scene speaks out to you the most?
There's so many to choose from.
Mm. And you can include any of the Equestria girls if you'd like.
Huh. How much time do they have?
The only people that have been able to answer this question without a pause have been the ones that have researched it ahead of time and knew I was going to ask it.
Yeah, this was kind of mean.
It's
I don't even
very
remember.
informative.
I didn't even remember that I got this question last time, but it was a while ago, so it wasn't.
Yes, that's true.
Um, I'm trying to think first of all if there's something that my characters have done or said that really pulled on my heartstrings.
Hmm.
Huh. It's so hard. It's like a
Oh, yeah.
billion things are coming to me, and I can't. Hmm. No, I guess I can't just choose one now. This on the drop of a hat,
Okay.
but it's just I love that show so much because it makes you think.
Yeah.
It makes you think, and it makes you think about being grateful for what you have and
Very true.
for the people in your life that means a lot to you.
Yeah.
And it makes my heart warm when
Mm.
I see the show. And I can't, as I said, right now on the drop of a hat, I can't remember a specific line,
Mm-hmm.
but um, I just love that show to death. It just it it's about love, and
Yeah.
it's what I believe in the most in this world.
Oh.
It's about love and friendship, and
Mm.
love is so much stronger than any hate, and it just reminds me of that, and it reminds me of 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 gratitude, of
Mm.
being grateful. It's just so positive, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. It's so good. I miss
Ah.
it now. I haven't had time watching it, and I haven't worked with it for a while now. So I'm like, oh, I need to. I need I need to get my pony on.
I'm quite thankful that my boss still lets me use Pony to teach English, so I still get to experience some of it.
Aw,
It's
that is
great.
great.
I mean, I could watch it when I get home, but it's still nice to be able to use it to help teach English.
Aw,
Yeah.
I that's good. I think that's a good show to use. And I
Oh, yeah,
know
it's fantastic.
show to
Except for
use.
Applejack. Applejack's tough.
Yeah, I can
Well, a
imagine.
lot of the southern slang, it's like takes so long to explain what Applejack has said and what it means and why they shouldn't say it because ain't isn't a very good word to teach.
Ah, no, ain't.
Yeah.
Right.
Useful word, but unless I'm doing a southern imitation, I never say it. So I really recommend my students not say it because it will get you points off for any test.
OJ,
Yo.
what does your South accent sound like?
Well, now
Your
that kind of
Southern.
depends, because if we're talking about more to the east south area, like Tennessee or Kentucky, this is kind of what the southern accent will sound like.
That was perfect. I love it.
I
Oh,
used to
I
be
wish I
pretty
could do
decent at a
something.
lot of American accents. I've lost most of them just from not
Jersey.
practicing. I can still do the California one.
Okay, the California and the Jersey Shore one.
I can't do Jersey
Or
Shore.
Long Island. Long Island, come on.
Oh, Long Island. No, I can't. I can't do Long Island. It's been too tough. I would have to. I would have to just say it to myself for a half hour. But California is actually, or California. I'll say stereotypical California,
Hmm.
because my Californian friends don't actually sound like this too often.
Okay.
But all you have to do is make every statement a question, and then make every question a statement. So you sound like this, even though you're just saying things. And when people talk, it sounds like you're saying a question, but you aren't, are you?
I never thought about that, but it does kind of sound like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, I need to tell that to my fiance later. See if I'll find it fun.
Yeah, that's the basic California one.
Oh,
Though
thank you.
I mean, it's one of the again stereotypical Montana, Wisconsin ones. The Fargo accent.
Uh-huh.
Well, Fargo, yeah. Oh, looks like we're going to get a cold one, yeah. Yeah, cold one's coming in today. You got the ice and you got the salt on your driveway. Oh yeah, yeah. We got the new shovels in.
And you need to talk about snow.
Well, I mean, what are you going to
Oh,
say about snow? You know, snow happens, and you just got to shovel it away, and it's going to melt, but it's always coming back. You know? Yeah.
isn't that kind of Canadian too?
That's like the stereotypical area is the border of Canada and America, right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was great. Thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yay!
Uh,
Terrible accents. Woo! I can.
yay!
Though I will say,
Oh,
really, very oddly, if I'm singing like karaoke, I have a British accent, and I'm not sure why.
maybe it's a song technical thing because my song coach always says, when you sing this vowel, you should feel more British. So it's more like,
I'm just
oh.
going to blame that my mother is British, and she would sing to me more than my father would, so possibly that's how I learned to sing.
Ah, your mom's British. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really funny. I change my accent depending on whom I'm speaking to.
Oh, okay.
If I'm speaking to somebody with an American accent, I speak an American accent. If I was speaking to somebody with a British accent, I immediately go over to the British accent.
It's been a long
I
while since
it's
I've done my speaking British accent, but I can do old man British accent. All you have to do is make sure that every word is the most stress you've ever put on a word.
Okay, so if I should speak the British English, I would speak more like this.
Oh, yes, I have heard that accent before. It's rather charming,
Oh,
yeah.
it is rather charming, yes, oh, indeed. And how are you feeling, old lad? You kind of sound like you're having a rough time.
Well, yeah, tea time is coming up, which will make things rather easier in the evening. Yeah.
Oh, tea time, that is lovely
We're going to
jubbly.
have a mob of British people outside just, dude, stop it. Okay, all right.
We are aware that we aren't perfect at our
Oh, yeah,
British.
this has been absolutely terrible accents. And
Yes,
honestly, I would recommend doing that with your friends. Have a terrible accent day.
yes, it's good. It's really hard, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do like an impromptu interview with like faux papers and
Oh,
see what happens, how I sound when I speak to him.
that would be funny. I
Yes,
think it'd be funny.
it would be funny. It
Well,
would be
everybody,
funny.
today we've been speaking again with Josephina Hylen. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure to have you twice. But the interview is not done yet because we need to switch places now.
Yes.
Here, hold on. I'll get up and you sit over here. Okay. No. Okay. And I'll get this mic on.
No,
Okay. All right.
wait. No,
Oh,
go left. Left. Yes,
left.
okay.
Left. Okay. My
Okay.
left or your left?
My left.
Okay. Okay. Then right. Okay. I got it. All
Okay.
right.
Now we're down and we're sitting and we are choosing some questions for
Before
you.
this interview was recorded, I had asked on Twitter, I think for the past week actually, I've asked people to send me some of the questions that they would like me to answer. I haven't really looked at these, so I don't know how it's going to sound. I'm hoping it sounds okay. We'll see.
There are some great
Let
questions.
me do a quick prelude. Everyone, I would like to thank you very much for 104 shows. It's been a privilege to have you listen to me. Wait, that sounded bad. It's been a privilege to be able to do these shows. I honestly do not like the sound of my own voice still, but I'm very thankful that so many of you have listened in for as long as you have. And I'm not sure where I will be in the future, but I want you all to know I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you on Twitter or somewhere else in the future.
Aw.
Okay, now let's hit me with these questions.
There are some really good questions here, actually.
Okay.
Um,
Let's start it.
but since I want to do my British voice one more
Okay.
time, I have to choose full papers.
Oh.
And he actually writes, "Hello.
Ha!
My questions are: 1. What was the most surprising thing you learned about a guest on your show?"
That's easy. That's easy. That would be
Mhm. That would be who?
you.
Me?
First time we did the interview, you had
Mhm.
mentioned to me before that you were Luna, which was great,
Mhm.
and Silver Spoon, and
Mhm.
Trixie. But at
Mhm.
that time, you didn't know Derpy's name.
Right.
Before we had done the interview, you had just mentioned that you were those three and another character who you thought she had lightning as a cutie mark.
Oh,
And
yeah.
about that time, it had been season 3, and there was a character, Lightning Dust, that competes with Rainbow Dash. I thought that's who the character was. But when we actually got to the interview and you were speaking, you said, "Oh, and I found out the name, Derpy." And I was, whoa, whoa, really? Oh my goodness!
Oh, yeah, I remember that. You were really.
It blew me away. I'm like, oh, a Derpy, what? Because that's something I would have prepared for, but
Aw. I
there,
seem to be doing this to you always.
there are other things, but that's definitely the most surprising thing, is that finding out I was speaking to Derpy.
Ah. Okay, here's another question.
Okay.
Number 2. If you were writing a letter to Princess Celestia about what lessons you've learned from the whole experience of doing this show, what would you tell her?
Tough one.
Mhm.
Dear Princess Celestia, I've learned that it's not that difficult to learn how to use audio programs, but it does take a lot of practice. Um, that's a bad answer, but yeah, from tech,
It
I've
was
learned a lot
funny.
of tech aspects about this. For anyone that doesn't know, I literally do the whole show myself. I have an artist who set me up with a very good After Effects program for the visuals, but other than that, everything is me. Recording, arranging, editing, uploading, rendering, all of it's me. I didn't know any of that when I started, so I had to learn that. I would also say I've learned a lot about rejection.
Hmm.
I've come to take the show as, and this is going to make sense in a second, similar to dating. Because some people you ask, would you like to be on the show? And they're like, yeah, I'd like to be on the show. And you go out and you have a good interview, and that's a good date. Some people, hey, would you like to go on a date? Yeah, I'd like to go on a date. Great. You go on a date, and that's fine. Some people will say, no, thank you. Like, all right, well, that's fine. But there are some people who never answer you, or who will just lead you on. Oh, yeah, I'd love to be on. Great, when can we go? And you never hear back from them.
Twerp, twerp.
Exactly. And I would say that I've learned 2, maybe 3 times of asking, if they don't respond, they don't want to be on. Or, it is possible that they're just too busy and don't have the time for it, but in the end, it works out the same for my end. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good answer.
Yay!
Okay, I'm starting to read and listen to you at the same time, and
Okay.
that is really hard. But I I found one question here from Keith Servel.
Oh, yeah. Case well, good guy.
Hmm. And he is he says, "I'm truly terrible at thinking of questions like these, but here goes."
Okay.
And he has many questions, but I
Okay.
really like this one. What's one aspect of the MLP universe you'd most like to see explored and expanded upon in the future?
That's a good question. I think for me, I would like to see more areas that aren't pony centric. I'd like to see where the griffins come from.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, I guess Crystal Ponies was kind of a version of that, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to see the zebra lands. Zecora comes from somewhere. I'd like Everfree Forest, I suppose, to an extent, okay. But yeah, I'd like to see the griffins. I'd like to see the mules, because the mules seem to come from kind of Equestria, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to see the other areas that aren't pony-centric and see how
Cool.
they relate.
That's a good question and good answer.
Yay.
Okay, another one that Keith asked, and I want to know too. Muffins or cupcakes?
Muffins, hands down.
Okay, and for me it's
That
cupcakes.
was not even a hesitation on my end. Cupcakes, to me, are just... perhaps I haven't had good ones, but to me, they are just bread with frosting on top.
That's what's best about them.
Well, I'll just have bread with frosting then.
But muffins is like the same thing. Muffins is just muffins with frosting on it.
No, but muffins are... well done muffin is moist, and I know people don't like that word, but I'm sorry. And it's got fruit or another thing inside, and you can choose to have it with butter or without butter, and you can have it hot or you can have it cool, and I'm a big fan of muffins.
I like frosting. I love frosting, and give me a carrot cake cupcake, and it will love you forever.
Good. I haven't had carrot cake in a long time, yes.
Yeah, carrot cake cupcakes, and I will be yours forever. Anywho, okay. Let's see here if I have something more. Okay. Casey Fish.
Casey. Oh, yeah, Casey.
Here's a question. What food from the U.S. do you miss? And if you left Japan, what Japanese food would you miss?
From the U.S. is easy. Turkey.
Really?
Japan doesn't have turkey, and I love that bird.
Oh.
I like sliced turkey for sandwiches. I like turkey burgers. I really like turkey, and I miss it here.
Huh. All right. Yes, good enough.
And if I left Japan, I'm going to say the rice. I love Japanese rice. And it was just so different when I got it in the States. It's just plain white rice. It's fantastic.
Oh, I didn't know that rice could be so different.
It's sticky over here. And the stuff that I got in America was more dry and impossible to eat with chopsticks. You had to use a fork or even a spoon.
Uh-huh.
But over here, the grains stick to each other when you've cooked it well, and I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, that is good. You are right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I have more questions.
Okay.
Let's see. Paper Pony.
Paper Pony, yes.
Is wanting to know, knowing what you know now, whoa. Okay, let's start that again. Knowing what you know, what advice would you tell your younger self?
Now, do you think they mean younger self like when I started the show, or just in general?
Just in general, younger self.
Just in general, younger self? Set an extra alarm clock.
Okay,
I can think of at least 2 or 3 major events in my life that really would have turned out better if I hadn't accidentally slept through the first alarm.
Oh, okay, that's an excellent advice then.
Yeah, I mean, just in general. I mean, that's specific for me, but in general, well, I had somebody tell me once, and I actually consider it as really good advice. Get a good pair of shoes and a good bed. Because if you're not using one, you're probably using the other. And you want to be comfortable.
That is excellent advice.
Yeah.
And I think if I were to answer that question, I would say don't take yourself too seriously.
Absolutely. Yes.
That would be mine, I think. It's much more fun.
Oh, yeah.
Not be serious. Anywho, okay, Michael Palante.
Oh, yes.
Has 10 questions.
Oh, my. Okay. Shall we do lightning round fast?
Yes.
Okay.
Lightning round.
Yeah.
1. Where's the beef?
Beef is in the supermarket or still on a cow if it's fresh.
2. What interview surprised you the most?
Interview in general, because I guess specific thing was yours when I found out about Derpy. Interview in general? going to say, okay, Amy Keating-Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
She was the first show staff that I spoke to. It was 3:30 a.m. for me.
Aw.
I had just started my show. I was so happy that I could get show staff to agree to be on my show that when she suggested a time, I wasn't even debating, arguing with it. It was 3:30 in the morning on a work day. Sure, we can do that. No problem.
Aw.
And I actually passed a kidney stone partway through the interview.
You are kidding me.
I had the mute button on my microphone, and I would do, that sounds great, mute. Really? What did you do then?
My God, that was so no. Okay, I admire you
But,
so much right now.
But the surprising part of it was she was so down to earth and so pleased to be just a very pleasant person. And up till then, I don't know, I'd never thought the show staff was aloof, but I did feel that they were like, probably asked with so many interviews and they'll never say yes. But no, they're human, and yeah, as long as you don't pester them and bug them and have a legitimate show, then there's a good chance they'll be on. So yeah, that surprised me.
Okay,
right.
3. How does it feel to be both charming and handsome?
I'll let you know when I get to be either one.
You are... Don't put yourself down. 4. What's next?
What's next? Good question. For the immediate future, rest. I am very much looking forward to having a full weekend of not having to wake up at any certain time.
Woohoo!
Good for you. So looking forward to that. As far as, if we're going to go with projects, I don't have a project lined up. But then again, I really didn't have the show lined up until shortly before the show started.
Right?
I'm going to be continuing to help out Japan PonyCon. I'm going to continue to be the foreign guest liaison for them and help them out as much as I can. But beyond that, I'm really not sure.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't think you should know, because that's when the most amazing stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, 5. What was the most awkward moment in an interview?
Crying.
Oh, no. When?
I asked a... I won't mention the person because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but I had asked a very innocent question, but apparently there was some connection to them on some really sad event. And they started breaking down into sobbing, crying, and we had to I paused the recording and we calmed down and I apologized and we continued on the interview there, but it was kind of a short interview and I'm like, oh man, that's embarrassing for me. I should have asked.
No. Oh well, you didn't know. It was an honest mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, so Michael Palante, who is this guy? He's funny. Okay, 6. Who are you? Who? I really want to know. Who are you?
I'm Osaka Jack.
You are. 7.
Though I will say it is kind of funny. I noticed this the other day. My real name is dying.
Really?
Well, online.
I'm almost calling you it all the time, but I don't know if you want me to or not.
No,
so
that's fine. I'm absolutely fine with that. And most people do call me that, and I'm fine with that. But on Twitter and on Everfree Network or whatnot, I'm Osaka Jack. If somebody wants to buy something from Japan for me, I'm Osaka Jack. Mm-hmm. If I go to the school, they use the katakana pronunciation of my name and say sensei. So that isn't technically my name either. The only people who actually call me by my actual name is my family, and I don't speak to them very much anymore. And it's it's not a bad thing. It's just kind of odd to me that my real name is one of the rarer things that I hear anymore.
And I've been almost calling you it in this entire interview, and
that's
I was like,
fine. I'm fine with that.
I didn't want to. Okay, Aaron. Then I will. I am one of the few people who will call you by your real name. So it doesn't die. Okay, and I like your name, so.
Oh, good.
7. How many new friends did the show bring you?
Quite a lot. I won't say 103, but pretty close to that. Yeah.
Great.
I feel badly that I can't continue following everybody on Twitter because it just gets so full.
Yeah, I know. I understand. Okay, 8. What interview did you really want but couldn't get?
Jim Miller, the director of MLP. I asked him when I realized the show would be ending. I asked him if he wanted to be one of the final guests, and he responded that he would like to, but Hasbro never approved him to go on podcasts ever.
Oh,
So I really
wow.
would have liked to had him on. From what I've seen of him at conventions and on Twitter, he seems a wonderful guy, and I would have liked to have just a great conversation with him, but it just didn't happen.
Okay. Well, 9. Advice to other content creators, MLP and any genre.
Hmm. I would say if you're doing it as a job, then you should put up with a lot more than you should if you're doing it as a hobby.
Hmm.
And if you're not getting paid for it and you're not having fun with it anymore and it's not leading to something, stop.
Good advice.
I see a lot of people taking things, I won't say too seriously because that's your choice, but I see people putting forth a lot of effort to something that it seems they don't want to do. I'm like, why are you doing that? Just stop.
Yeah, true. Okay, final question. How would you like the MLP friendship is magic? Okay, I can't talk anymore. How would you like the MLP Friendship is Magic series to end? Your ideal finale.
Mm. Well, as I said before, as long as it has a finale, I will be very
Yeah,
happy. Very
exactly.
happy. If I want to go, in theories though, at the end of season 2, I actually had a significant theory. Um, each of the bad guys that had appeared up to that point seemed to be an antithesis to one of the elements of harmony. Nightmare Moon was dark magic.
Mm.
Discord was evil laughter, and Queen Chrysalis was nothing but a lie. So it's the opposite of magic, opposite of laughter, and the opposite of honesty.
Hmm.
Even Sombra, who appeared, was in green-eyed monster, greed, as opposed to generosity.
Yeah.
And Tirek, who appeared at the end of season 4, wanted to enslave everyone, which is pretty much the opposite of kindness. So my idea was that for each element of harmony, there was an anti-version, and each of the 6 versions of that combined would form the opposite of the elements of harmony. So my ideal finale would be the grouping of all 6 anti-elements of harmony.
Cool.
Mm.
That is a really good idea, actually.
Ah.
I liked it. Very good.
Yay.
Okay,
Hmm.
so should we take how many more questions do you have time for?
I'm good. I literally have nothing to do for the next 36 hours. Let's not take that long. Let's not take that long. But
No, well, my dad is coming to visit soon, so
okay,
let's see. Now that
I don't want to upset anybody, so we'll do a few more with you, and then if you have to go, that's okay, and I'll just read some of the last ones.
okay, but it's almost okay. Joy,
Joy, yes.
yes. Uh, what moment or interview made you rethink an episode or scene?
Oh, okay, all right. So I had an idea for a scene, and then, um, okay, all right. I have a good one. In Philly Vanilli, where
Mm-hmm.
Fluttershy gets the deep bass voice for a bit, and she's still too shy to sing. I was really nervous that the ending would have all of a sudden Fluttershy can sing, and it's great, but it didn't happen. At the very end of the
Oh.
episode, everyone was like, "Yay, you performed for your animal friends, so now you can perform on stage with us." And she said, "No, I'm not ready for that. Baby steps. I've done a lot
Mm.
today, and I'm good with that." And I was really impressed with that. It really changed. It's not often that I get surprised by writing, and that really surprised me
Yeah,
because I think that's a much more honest way someone would approach social anxiety.
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
have one thing change and I'm cured. I'm fine. No. It's a very slow, continuous process that.
And it's okay to say no.
Exactly. Yes.
No, I'm not ready for this, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
So that one hit me pretty hard.
Good. And question 2 from Joy. What part of doing the show has made the biggest positive impact on your
Yeah. Well, I've got 2 answers for that.
life?
Probably first part would be Joy.
Aw,
Because by doing the show, I got to meet Joy, who I've been dating for the past 2 years,
yay!
which is a very positive impact.
It
Um,
is.
if we want to do besides that, for some reason, I don't know.
No. What's more important than love? Nothing.
Hmm, I would say It's actually been very useful for me in keeping my job skills high.
Yeah.
Uh, I have met some people in Japan that have been here a long time, and their English is terrible.
Mm.
It's simply because they don't practice it. They only use English in the classroom, and they never try to communicate with it anymore.
Mm.
And it dies. If you don't use it, it dies.
Yeah, of course.
And by doing this, it has forced me to continue decent English conversations with people. And I really believe that's kept my job skills very sharp.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great. That is good for you.
So your
Let's
father is
see.
coming?
Yeah, my dad's
Okay.
coming. He lives like 2 hours away, so we
Nice.
don't see him that often. So
Oh, yes,
it's
absolutely.
good. We're gonna make some lunch and have a little couple of hours, and he's gonna meet his grandson. Mm.
Oh, yay.
Yay! Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Well, if you'd like,
Well,
I can read the rest of the questions myself, and I'll let you
I'm
go
s-
get prepared for that.
yeah, I would
No,
like
I
to
understand.
continue, but I kind of have to go.
Uh-huh.
But thank you so much, Aaron, for
Thank you,
doing
Fina.
this.
I
I had
really
such a
appreciate it.
great time.
Everyone, please follow Fina on Twitter and check out her Wicked cover. Woo!
Yeah, well, woo! I'm trying to record some new stuff and
Yay.
putting it out there, and I would like to do more MLP stuff too. But that is some. When are we gonna get like 30 hours in every day instead of 24?
Yeah,
Who's gonna
I'm
fix that?
waiting for that.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it too. Well, thank you. Do check out my Wicked cover. I made
Mhm,
a voice actor version where I play both Glinda, Elphaba, and I threw in the Madame Morrible speech too.
mhm.
So
Yep.
check it out. It's on YouTube and
Yeah.
yeah. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks so much for coming by.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Hey everyone, we're back. Fina actually, unfortunately, had to go, so I found someone else who could not refuse my offer. Keithius, hello.
Hello.
Okay, but all right, continuing with the questions.
Yes,
Okay.
so let's see here. We have one from, I believe it's Fire Envy?
Okay.
Fire Envy? And the question is, well, first question is, what have been the three biggest things or lessons that you'll be taking with you from this experience?
Okay. Well, I guess that's a general question. Um, well, as I mentioned a bit before, the tech knowledge that I've gotten, I would never claim to be fantastic at it, but I have learned something about audio editing and something about video editing, and I had no idea how to do that before I started. Um, so I would never claim to be fantastic, but I have some knowledge of it now, and I think that's useful.
Hmm?
Um, uh, again, as I mentioned before, it has taught me when to just give up trying to get somebody to talk to you. Sometimes you want to push just a little bit more, but yeah, if they're not going to respond to you, they're not going to respond to you. Just give up and move on. And third lesson I would say would be trust my instincts about people. I've had some people request an interview, and I was wary for some reason. So I decided to follow them on Twitter for a bit, and they turned out to be not very nice people. So it's like, that was a very good idea of mine. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Video editing,
hmm
learning when to say no, and trusting your instincts. All
Not
very good
when to say no.
lessons.
I would say learning when to give up trying to get somebody to answer you.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Say
Still,
no, but
very good lessons.
yes. Yeah.
Okay, and another question from Fire Envy.
Hmm.
Who have been the most influential people that you've met through this show? I don't know if that's influential in general or maybe influential to you.
Yeah, I'm curious about which one that would be. That's a difficult one because I've met a lot of people that I consider friends now that I had not met before the show, and that's influential to me, I suppose. If we want to talk people that can affect the world, I guess a lot of the show staff have been very kind. I've met television producers as well, and I'm not sure. That's a difficult question. I guess just influential for me. The show staff, the people that I consider friends now. Um, I'm hoping somebody grows up to be president one day, and I can say, I got an interview with him! Then that would count, but...
All right, then. Let's see. Moving on. Next question is from Spectacles AK,
Ah, yes.
which is apparently, what is the coolest experience, by whatever definition of cool you choose, that you've had while working on the show?
Well, I don't know, something that sticks out to me, and it just blew me away. I've had people ask for my autograph. And it only happened once at Everfree Northwest. I was passing out little fans as gift, and somebody asked me to sign theirs. But at Japan PonyCon, some people will approach me and ask me to sign things, and have little conversations with them, and that blows me away. I'm like, really? But I'm not, okay. I don't want to use that I'm not famous, because that's not really my call. I wouldn't say I was famous. I wouldn't say I was influential or important, but I guess in their minds it's important enough to request an autograph, and it was weird for me, but I guess pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd count that as cool, too. Okay, let's see here. Who's our next question? All right. Let's see if I can pronounce this name right. I do apologize. Casey Fish?
Casey, yeah.
It's...
I think we did one of her questions, but maybe not all of them.
Yep, I see that here. My handy-dandy little document. The question is, how did you choose guests to interview?
I get this question a lot from people who wanted me to ask them to be on the show, but they didn't want to be quite as forward as asking if they could be on the show. And my answer was always, whim. And I wish it could be more specific than that, but no, it was whim. If I happen to see something interesting on Twitter, well, I will say this. I rarely ever ask somebody off the cuff. If it was on DeviantArt or Twitter or Tumblr or any location, if I was interested in somebody, I would watch them for a bit. I would make sure that the PG rating of my show wouldn't be a problem, or wouldn't be difficult for them to communicate with. But if their tweets were really interesting, or their art was really good, or their posts interesting, then I would ask them for an interview.
Seems fair enough. And last question there is, how's the cat? How's Kitty?
She is doing rather well. She had a massive tongue derpage last night, which was hilarious.
I did see that. That was hilarious.
It was like the size of half of her face just hanging out there, blah. No problem. She's just Persian, and they have long tongues, and she just forgot to put her tongue back in her mouth for a bit.
I never saw that before, but learn something new every day.
Yeah. I mean, once I booped her on the nose, then she put the tongue all the way back in. But yeah, it was not painful and no problems. Just, she's fine.
Always good to hear. Okay, next question is from Gabriel Castro.
Okay.
And that question is, what will you do after the show? Will you remain with the fandom or move on? Will you do another show or project later on, or just have fun and watch what people do?
I have no intention to leave, as it were. I've never been really involved beyond the show. So I'll still help out Japan PonyCon, and I'll enjoy the shows, and I'll tweet about the shows and have conversations, but I think that's about all I'll do. As far as another show, I don't have another show or project lined up. I'm not saying I won't, but if I do it, I will not do it alone anymore. While I've enjoyed this show a lot, 104 shows by myself has been really trying.
I can imagine.
And yeah, when I took the hiatus for a few months, the entire hiatus was spent trying to find someone who could do a few of the interviews, but nobody who applied really wanted to, so eventually abandoned that. So I don't know that I won't do another show, but I have no plans to do one right now.
Okay, let's see here. Wonder if I should skip over these next few questions or not.
No, you should not. Are they yours?
No? Yes.
Then ask yours.
All right.
We've gotten a few of yours, but yeah.
Okay, so first off, what inspired you to start Into the Spotlight in the first place?
Okay. Well,
I guess we kind of covered that just now, but
we got the beginning kernel of it, but the show itself, I had approached Draft. I wanted to do a show. I wanted to do a game show. I wanted to do a live game show on EFN, and I had some ideas that would work with the chat and with the live stream, and going and talking about it with Draft. He said it was a good idea, but he asked me for specifics, and he did that. And he said he didn't do that in an attempt to deflate my idea, but to see if it was doable or not.
mm-hmm.
And one of the main points we got was, what would people win and why would they play? And I couldn't answer either of those. And also, how would we police those who might cheat? And I couldn't answer that either. I don't think it was a terrible idea, but at the limitations we had at the time, it just didn't work. But at that time, there used to be a show with a similar aim on EFN. And I've gone blank on the name all of a sudden. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I've gone blank on the name, which I feel badly about. But there was a show that lasted, I think, 13 episodes. And it was similar. They interviewed somebody relatively unknown. But they had just left. So he asked if I wanted to do something similar. We worked back and forth on best ways to work it out and came up with the idea of Into the Spotlight. Or the idea of the name, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to do not traditional interview style. I never wanted to do question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, because I find that boring. I really do. Unless it's something I need to know, like a press conference, I prefer not to have question, answer, question, answer. I wanted to interact with my guest and have it be more conversational based.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how it started. And I recorded the first episode with MLP Problems, and it was about 3 hours long. And Draft insisted I trim it down, so I trimmed it down to, I think, 50 minutes, which was really hard. But I trimmed it down, and we got approval, and I just started recording.
All right. Let's see here. Next would be, what was the most challenging aspect of doing your interviews for you?
Well, something that would occur often is time zones. I appreciate that not everybody has my schedule, and that's fine. But occasionally I would get somebody who would only have a certain time free, and they would assume that I would have the same time free, and it would turn out to be very late at night for me, or very early in the morning for me. So I would have to adjust my sleep schedule to match them. And that got quite challenging at times. I only messed up once, though. And that was actually a few days ago.
Oh, do tell.
For some reason, I thought Andy Price lived in California. He does not live in California. He lives in Atlanta, Georgia. That is Eastern time.
Yes.
So when we had finally, he's very busy, but he finally agreed to 5 p.m. I had intended to wake up about an hour before the show and then shower and be ready. Fortunately, I actually was a little bit ill that night, had to use the restroom, and when I get back, I said, I got 2 hours before I have to wake up. Let's check Twitter and see if there's any. And he sent a message, I'm here, where are you?
Ooh.
Oh my! So I quickly messaged, I'll be there in 15 minutes, I'm sorry, I got the time zones mixed up. Fortunately, he was very kind about it, so it worked out great. But
that's good.
It was serendipitous illness, I'll say.
Okay, next question from someone with a weird name. M.A. Larson? Who's that? I've never heard of them before.
Mallarson? Okay.
Ma'am, Mar Larson?
Yeah.
Probably some writer or something I've never heard of.
Right, yeah.
Now that it's over, what has doing the show taught you? And why is peanut butter so stupidly good?
I love that second half. What has the show taught me? It's helped. It's actually, I've mentioned this a little bit before, but it's actually helped me with my job. Practicing English is the only way to keep your English strong.
Mm-hmm.
And because I have a conversational style, it helps out my conversational work. But I think it's really helped me to shut up. It's my instinct when I'm recording something. If there's no sound and nobody's talking, I want to talk. But some people need a few extra seconds to say something. And I wasn't perfect at it, but I think there were a few times where I just shut up and let them talk a little bit longer, and they seemed to relax more.
It's like the uncomfortable silence scene from what was it? Pulp Fiction, I think.
Yes. Yes. Well, the $5 milkshakes are pretty good at this point, so.
Yeah. All right, so why is peanut butter so stupidly good?
I'm going to answer this and get a lot of hate from it, because it's crunchy.
Crunchy. Looks like I'm going to get some hate too. Oh, well.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if you like creamy peanut butter, I don't know. It's okay, I guess. It's got the taste, but I'm going to go for texture, too, to make it stupidly good.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and this next one is from Kiniro?
Kiniro.
Kiniro, okay. What gave you the motivation to start Into the Spotlight, and what pushed you to be on EFN?
Okay. The motivation to start actually was full papers. I had mentioned, I don't even remember what, but I had mentioned something on Twitter, and somebody had joked that, oh, you should try to get a show on EFN. And I said, ha ha ha, that would be funny. I don't know who would listen to it. And Full Paper said, I would. I think it would be interesting. And at this point, he was much more well known than I. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. Let me talk to Draft then. I'll see if it works. Okay. As far as EFN specifically, there was never a question in my mind. I wanted to. At the time when I started, it was the only broadcasting network for the fandom, and honestly, I'm quite content on EFN.
Okay. Let's see here. And next we have a question from Calvin Saya?
Yes.
Is that how you would say that? Okay. Calvin Saya. If you could have a tagline on a poster showing you, what would it say? I like that question.
Yeah. All right, tagline. Of all trades.
The obvious answer. Yes, I like that.
Well, I was trying to think of idioms that have the name Jack in them, and that was the cleanest.
Okay. And last question here, a little bit long. There will come a time when the Brony fandom will end, when MLP is just another show that is stopped and all the people in the fandom will go about their lives, sharing this one hobby in common. When that time comes, what will be the one event or person or song or anything from the fandom that you will think will remain in your memory for a long time to come?
Well, I think more than likely it'll be Joy. Because I met her because I was doing the show, and we've been dating for over 2 years now. I'm not sure that's quite what he meant, because that was more personal, but I think if he means related to the show specifically. All right, I can think of one. One of my students had, she just very, very recently, actually had a homestay in America for 6 months. It's almost finished now. But to get into the homestay, you had to pass a series of tests for language and for speaking and for just a lot of different things. And it is so stressful because the test takers change. Oh, it's just so much stress. I wouldn't pass this test. And she was having such a hard time. She was coming into our school to get extra help and get extra help. And as often as not, she would just break down crying. So she was in a class that I was using My Little Pony to, help teach. And one day she came in and I had finished work, but she came in and she was there for 2 hours and she was just crying. She just couldn't take it. She had reached her limit and gone past it. And I just said, well, do you want to come and watch some pony with me? She's like, yes. So we just went into the classroom and I put on the season 4 finale and we just watched the entire thing. And when she finished, she had stopped crying. She seemed relaxed. She was laughing. And she just had a great time with it. And she did pass her test, and right now she's currently in America for the next month. But that really hit me really well, is that the show can affect us so much that even when it's a really crappy day, we can relax, even if it's not in our language.
Aw, those are both very sweet answers. I like both of those.
Oh, and I'll have to include the other adult student I have who was just having a rough day, and we usually use movies just to she loves the action movies. We'll read the dialogue, we'll watch the dialogue, we'll practice. And we had just finished, and she was having a terrible day, and I said, well, what would you like us to do? Because we have to do something new. She had no idea, and I said, well, why don't we try this? And this is called the Smile Song. And we read through it, and she looked at me like, really? And then we played it, and she was crying by the end. I'd never
Aw,
seen her cry or have an emotional reaction to anything, but it was so positive and happy, she was crying by the end.
aw, that's the good kind of crying.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, not crying because I have to watch this.
Aw, very good answers on that one. That was a nice question.
Yeah, good job. Thanks, Calvin.
All right, next question is from Final Draft.
Okay.
And he says, your show is titled Into the Spotlight because your interviews highlighted members of the community. As an interviewer, what will your next show's scope be?
Oh, my. Well, as I mentioned, I don't have a specific project in mind, and I'm not sure that I will do another show. I'm not saying I won't, but if I do another one, I think I'm going to continue with the next step of the conversation-based interviews, whereas I would like to see how two members of if it's for a fandom, two members of the fandom or two members of the, I would like to, not a debate, mind you, but I would like to see two members of a fandom interact in a style similar to what my interviews have been. Possibly get people from two sides just talking about anything but the specific issue that makes them angry. I would like to see them at least try to communicate and have some point they can agree on and discuss that.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So you'd become sort of like a moderator.
Well, I guess that would be the end result, yeah. But I wouldn't like to approach it like that. I would like to approach it like, hey, I'd like to know what you guys think about this, and find something that they do agree on, or that's so separate that they find it interesting, and just talk about that.
Okay, and then we have a question from Michelle Krieber,
Oh.
who asks, what were your fave memories from past shows?
Well, I hate saying it like this because I sound hipsterish, but I really liked it when I would talk to somebody before they got a lot of fandom fame. Paper Pony, for example. I spoke to them when nobody really knew them. Leakfish, before she had thousands of followers and artists. And I can't claim that for all of the people that I speak to, of course. Of course not. But I really did like it when I would talk to somebody and then they would become really well known, and I'm like, I kind of started them. I didn't start them off, but yeah, I talked to them before they got all this attention. Isn't that cool? Woo!
Well, that's nice, though. You helped
Yeah.
bring them into the spotlight, which is the point of your show.
Success!
Those are the best. Those are the best ones, I think.
Yep.
Okay, next is a question from Black Griffin.
Yeah.
What's the funniest thing that happened on the show, and what did I say?
I should mention, when I had Black Griffin on, we recorded about 4 hours of material, and it was all hilarious. and I couldn't find just a good stopping point. But I had to cut about 3 hours out of that. I will say that in his is the only show where I've heard a sound, and I said, that sounded like a knife being sheathed. He said, "Oh, it was. Can you tell which kind?" I'm like, okay. I should mention he was in the military and he had access to weapons that most people don't, but it was still quite funny. Okay, a recent one. We didn't include it in the show, but recently I had Vincent Tong on. He had seen my tweets, but he had never listened to the show before. And he had seen like some boxes I had sent to the agents or whatnot. For some reason, he thought I was this little Japanese boy. That's the exact words he used. I thought you were this little Japanese boy, and I was going to have some problems understanding you because of your thick accent, and you'd be all meek and stuff. Like, nope. I live here, but was born in America. Definitely not little or Japanese. I am a boy.
Okay. Next question comes from Emily Rose.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, all right, so my question is maybe a bit personal, but you and Joy are the cutest together. I agree. And I'd love to know how y'all met and or started dating.
I think I first became aware of Joy with a Full Papers retweet. And Joy is a huge space fan. And this was about the time that Curiosity was landing. So Curiosity, the Mars rover. I saw, and she was doing live tweets as it was happening. At the time, before that, I honestly didn't know it was something I could watch live. And I remember being on the train, walking to work, and holding my little iPhone and going like, "Come on, land, baby, land!" And she was doing live tweets and celebrating and just being very enthusiastic about it. And I decided, well, I want to get this person on my show. This is really interesting. So I started following her on Twitter, as I do. I started checking the stuff out. And I asked her, she was making custom ponies, little ragdoll custom ponies. I messaged her and I asked her if I could commission a Curiosity pony. A pony that was inspired by Curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And she agreed. And I requested that 2 of them be made. One for me and one for my friend in America. And she worked really hard on this. The pony's hooves are the same tread as the Curiosity. Her tail is the same shape as the power source. She has a cutie mark in the shape of the camera. Her glasses are the laser that the Curiosity rover uses to blast things. And they're really cute. And I said, oh, geez, my friend is moving, so can you just send the one to me and I'll get the other one's address as soon as I can? She agreed. And she sent it to me, and it was really cute. And I was able to get her on Skype. And I told her, okay, so the second pony is yours. I had already paid for it, and I had paid for it in full.
Mm-hmm.
I had figured this would be something she would want, but she would never have the time to do for herself. So I commissioned 2, one for me, one for her. And that impressed her, from what I hear. And so then I asked her to be on my show. And she was on the show. And specifically, I waited until after the show was finished to ask her out, because I didn't want that looming over our heads during the interview. But yeah, after the show ended, I asked her out, and she said yes, and we've been dating since.
Aw. Okay. Next question. Let's see here. Dulce Tiki?
Dolce
I'm saying that?
Tiki. Dolce
Tiki.
Dolce.
Okay. Dolce. All right. Dear OJ-san, you have interviewed many bronies. Did you have something to keep in mind when you do?
I should mention, Dolce Tiki and Sakura Chida are the Japanese part of Into the Spotlight, who will be continuing once a month interviews over at Canterlot Hill.
There you go, everyone. Be sure to tune in.
If you speak Japanese, it'll be worthwhile. It's the only Japanese brony broadcast that I know of. The last Saturday of every month at 10 p.m. Japan time. Because we can do Japan time now. Okay. Did I have something to keep in mind when I do? Well, I always have my timer on my desk. And my timer is a large glass of Diet Coke. And as the interview was going, I would sip it, and when it got down low, I would know, okay, that's about 1 hour. Let's wrap it up.
It's a very interesting timer.
It worked for me. It worked very well for me. I rarely had to check the time. Something to keep in mind, the main things were shut up on my part.
Mm-hmm.
Try to keep them talking if I can't. And the main thing was to remember that they are people, just like me, even if I had show staff or someone on. Treat them as well as I can, but I don't have to, it's such an honor to meet you, and I'm so glad. Treat them like people, and more than often than not, they would respond in turn. That's what I would say.
Okay. Good advice. Next question is from Zorkfox,
Okay.
who says, "This one you'll probably cover automatically, but I want to know the answer to the question you always ask everyone on your show. What one scene or line of dialogue defines what brony means to you?"
Ah, yes.
The tables have been turned.
And I am ready.
Not
I've
surprised.
I've answered this once or twice before. I can't remember which show, so I don't blame you if you haven't heard it yet, guys. Sorry. For me, it's two scenes, and it's my question. I can choose two. The first one is one line of dialogue at the last episode of season 1, the best night ever. Fluttershy has just seen all of the animals, the Wallaroo, all of them, and she gets really excited and rushes up, and all the animals are scared and scatter. And Fluttershy says in the sweetest, most quiet voice, "Oh, Fluttershy, you're such a loudmouth." I loved that. And I think that's something that a lot of people could take to heart. Here is the quietest, sweetest character in the entire series, and the part that she dislikes about herself the most is something nobody else has ever thought of her. And I think that happens a lot with people, is you think something is just so terrible and everybody dislikes you for it, and nobody else has ever noticed. So it was a good small lesson to me to not be quite so self-conscious about things that I don't particularly like, but nobody has noticed. For example, I do not like the sound of my voice. Never have. But kind of became necessary when I had to edit the audio from the show.
Yeah, can't really avoid it there.
And the other one was actually Luna Eclipsed. Luna has arrived in the town. She has done her Canterlot voice, and everybody has been incredibly scared. And she has essentially just said, "Fine, we will go away then." The next scene, it's only a half second, but we see Luna at the foot of the Nightmare Moon statue. And she is pawing at the ground, a piece of candy at the ground that the kids have left to make this demon not attack them. And the look on her face is just like, it's so heartrending to me, because she can't deny that's what she was. And the best she can do at this point is try to work forward. But sometimes what we were will affect what we are, even if we don't want it to. So yeah, those are the 2 points that really got me.
Some deep responses here. I like it.
Yeah. I think that was it for the questions.
Yes, that was actually the last question. There
Okay.
you go.
Well, thank you very much for helping me out with the questions here.
No problem.
Everybody, I would like to thank you again for allowing me to have 2.5 years of a great show. This is episode 104, which technically had 2 guests, which is also the first time that happened. And neither of them were new guests. I would love it if people kept listening to the show. The YouTube archives will remain as long as we can. And I'm sorry I didn't get to interview nearly half as many of you as I would have liked. But I'm tired, and I need a break now. So I will say for the last time, everyone, this is Osaka Jack with Into the Spotlight on Everfree Network. We'll catch you next time.